It's HBR, All Things Considered, and I'm Dave Lawrence. Tonight and tomorrow, Island's getting a long-awaited return from multiple Grammy Award winners, the Yellowjackets, heading over to the Blue Note for shows, and we have keyboardist and original member Russell Ferante joining us. Hey, Russell, welcome, and thanks for doing this, man.
Thank you. Thanks for your interest in the band.
From research, it looks like it's been quite a while since you've been back in the islands. What's a little bit of your history here?
Well, let's see. I played there twice with Yellowjackets. Once was at the band show in Honolulu, a show with Miles Davis and Yellowjackets, and then once at the university. And then I played there with Sadao Watanabe, kind of an anniversary of the Royal Hawaiian Hotel, probably like 20 years ago, maybe. I think that's the last time I was there.
One of them certainly sticks out. Playing with Miles over at the, I guess that's the Waikiki show. What are memories of that?
Oh, yeah, that was incredible. There was a period where we did quite a few shows with Miles Davis, like the end of the 80s into the early 90s. And in fact, I think we played with him in California, his last show at the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles and then the Concord Pavilion. And I think shortly thereafter, he passed.
Any cool experiences with him that stick out?
Well, I never really got the chance to meet him. He was always not the most accessible character and kind of an intimidating character. But something that we were there to observe was a performance of his at the World's Fair in Vancouver, Canada. At the time, he had been sparring in the press with Wynton Marsalis. We were in the audience. We had played earlier, and we were checking out his set. And Wynton came up on stage to sit in with him. I don't know if you've heard the story, but
no. They
were playing a blues, and Wynton strolled from the side of the stage and went out to the mic and started playing. He got about 8 bars into the solo, and Miles Davis cut off the band, stopped them. Wynton was just out there all by himself and kind of shriveled and put his tail between his legs and walked off stage. It was a very bizarre moment, but I guess it was Miles' way of saying, you know, you're talking smack about me in the press. Well, take that, young man. And it was a humiliating moment for Wynton. And then Miles started the band back up, and they finished their set and kind of put this young man in his place.
I've never heard that story. That's a pretty good one.
That was really, You know, there's so many stories about Miles Davis. He really tried to provoke people, you know, and I don't think it came from a place of being really nasty or mean, but he just liked to shake it up, and certainly did in that instance.
That's an incredible story. Well, you're off and running with a real powerful one. And prior to the founding of the Yellowjackets, your resume also includes working with Joni Mitchell.
Yes, which was another amazing interlude. I got the opportunity to work on one of her records in the early 1980s, right before she got married to the bassist Larry Klein. We went on the road after making this record for pretty much the entire year. It was 1983 and maybe a little bit into 84. I have the utmost respect for Joni Mitchell as an artist and a human being. Because she was newly married to one of the guys in the band, we spent a lot of time off the bandstand together. And traveling, when we were in the U.S., we traveled in a private airplane. I had just become a new father, and so my wife and my little 7- and 8-month-old daughter were with us a good amount of time and hanging out with Joni at meals and on the airplane. And that was really quite a unique and very special thing. She told us at that time about the child that she had when she was very young and had given up for adoption. And that was a pretty heavy thing for her in her life. So we got time to spend and talk about serious things, and we had one of the more harrowing experiences. We had a really rough flight. I think we were flying down into like southern Louisiana. The plane was rocking pretty hard. We hit some thunderstorm or something. So we were all pretty freaked out, thinking for a moment we might not make it.
Yikes.
So I remember that airplane ride very vividly. So we had some interesting experiences, yeah.
That sounds like it. Now, we were talking with, who was it? It was just, we had the Manhattan Transfer on, and Cheryl Benteen was explaining how sometimes Grammys, a lot of people may not realize, are made out of both plastic and metal, and sometimes they break. And so I was looking at your resume and realizing you had a couple. I was wondering, have you ever broken your Grammys? And if so, what was the magic thing that you did, whether glue, tape? How'd you get them back together?
Actually, we did break a Grammy. Yeah, we've been fortunate to win 2 Grammys, and one, I think, dropped out of the back of the car or something. I forget, but actually the Grammy Foundation repaired it and returned it to us. But, yeah, it's true, they're not the most, well-made objects, but still proud to have a couple.
Sure, no question. Well, that's cool. That's good to know. I mean, what your tip is that for other artists who break them, consider reaching out to the Grammy organization and possibly they'll replace it, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
People may not have even thought of that. And before we wrap it up, some hero encounters, obviously, a huge one that you were explaining with Miles.
Yeah, actually, one of my hero encounters was with, and this is totally away from music, but Archbishop Tutu from South Africa,
right,
with Nelson Mandela instrumental in putting the country back together after apartheid, right? So Bishop Tutu is an Episcopal priest, and we go to this Episcopal church in the Pasadena area where we live. And Bishop Tutu was speaking at the church, and we were invited to this luncheon afterward, maybe like 50 people. My wife and I were totally anonymous in the corner. And after the lunch, Bishop Tutu just comes striding over to us and gives us the hugest hug. And it was an incredible moment. But when he came over, it just felt so out of the blue. And like, why is he taking time for me? So that is something that really is an amazing memory of mine. Among musicians, getting a chance to play on some sessions with people like Herbie Hancock and Chick Corea, one record where Chick and I played together, and I was sitting basically back to back and listening to him play all afternoon was an extraordinary experience.
Oh, man. Oh, it sounds like it. Sounds totally.
Yeah.
I was thinking that with the Desmond Tutu that he was going to come over and maybe try to get your autograph or something.
No, I'm sure he had no idea who I was. But the man is just extraordinary. I mean, you hear people say certain people have some kind of energy or whatever it is. He has sort of the love energy, and you can tell his heart is huge, and he just reaches out to the people around him. That was a special thrill to get a hug from him.
It sounds it. Yellowjackets keyboardist Russell Ferante hanging with us here today, back in town in Honolulu, and first time in a while. Hope you had fun talking about some of your history today, and I really do appreciate your time, brother.
Thank you, Dave. I enjoyed talking to you. Aloha! It's Russell Ferante from Yellowjackets. And don't even think of touching that dial. I know you're enjoying the show with my buddy Dave Lawrence. So please give us a truckload of money right now.